I'm gonna get back when I feel 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 get back when I feel like.
So Qasim, great to have you on the show. What were some of your first memories in cricket?
My first memory was obviously playing in the schoolyard with some, good cricketers at the time, fantastic individuals, unstructured sessions. Obviously, I lived quite close to a community of where we used to play street cricket. So to try and play in the parks, trying to hit it out the park, take ball cricket, no rules, just make your own rules up, that kind of stuff. So that's my first experience of playing cricket. My first experience of actually watching cricket was with my father, my uncle, who are passionate cricketers. I followed my uncle's footsteps, but watching the '92 World Cup was my first experience watching it live on TV. Obviously, the event happening in Australia, there's a big time difference to England where I was born, and obviously as a family watching that together, and my lasting memory was, Imran Khan running around with a glass World Cup in his hand. So that was my first experience, and that'll stay with me till the end.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then were you playing school cricket or club cricket predominantly?
A bit of both. So I was growing up through the schools. I was quite, I was down as a highly talented potential. Played a lot of school cricket, played a lot of county cricket, played age group cricket for Lancashire. Played up to seconds, played a lot of sort of red ball cricket in terms of what I wanted to do to try and progress forward. Unfortunately, I just wasn't good enough at the time. I was at the era where the expats and the call packs came in, and that was a lucrative market for county stuff. So I was competing against first class cricketers from there, but I just wasn't good enough at the time. But I played a lot of club cricket in the Lancashire League, in the Ribsville League. Played in the sort of Premier Leagues in sort of the northern Lancashire area, and spent a couple of years abroad playing cricket as well. So it was a great experience.
Where did you play abroad?
In Perth. So I played at Shenton Cricket Club. Had a good experience there for a year. I also obviously played a little bit of cricket within the UK as a paid amateur as well, as a professional for one of the clubs. So yeah, I mean, played 7 or 8 good years at Burnley Cricket Club. So I had a really good experience in terms of my cricketing journey. But obviously, when I transferred into coaching, it was a slightly different responsibility.
Yeah. So what took you across to coaching?
I think getting the opportunity early on to coach, I was quite lucky. I worked in a sports development unit as part of my work experience. I was really passionate about trying to give back to a community from a really young age. But obviously that led me into sort of getting multi-sports qualifications, and then obviously taking cricket up a little bit more serious. I was really lucky and fortunate at the time. There was an overseas level 2 coaching program going on, and I was amongst all the professionals from abroad, and it was something that I really wanted to do. I learned a lot about myself from that coaching course, and then my passion grew strongly from there in terms of what I wanted to do, and obviously playing the game at the same time. And you start working with some really good coaches along the way, and it's something that I really wanted to do when I was younger and growing up.
Yeah, and then you moved across to Dubai with the ICC Academy there.
Yeah, I was lucky again. Quite fortunate. I got headhunted for a head coach's job at the ICC Academy. At the time, I was actually in Dubai when this discussion was taking place. I was the head coach of the England disability team, and obviously going through my level 4 at the time, it was a fantastic experience for me. But to then get an invite to obviously come to Dubai was fascinating for me, because I've never been to the country. I've heard a lot about it. The cricket's obviously growing at the time. There's some really good cricketers coming across into UAE, and obviously the potential was there to work in a prestigious academy and try and make it my own. And obviously once I got there, trying to bring in the sort of Western sort of coaching philosophy in there.
Yeah, and then now you've moved across to Sweden and you're coaching Sweden. What are some of your first memories from cricket in Sweden?
Wow, my first memories were obviously getting a call up and said, "Do you want to be the head coach?" But it was a transition phase. I mean, John T stepped down, and I was lucky enough to get that call, and I cherished the sort of responsibility to coach an associate country like Sweden, who are still progressing and growing. My first experience was flying in on a particular weekend when they were selecting 15 players to go and play the T20I, and it was just handed over to me, and I didn't know anybody or who was doing what. So I guess that happens in certain positions. But as time's gone on, 15, 16 months down the line, I've got a really good understanding and a depth of knowledge about what's happening in Sweden. Obviously, we've got a developing country. There's a lot of cricket passion happening domestically. We've got a good infrastructure in the youth department now starting to come together. But with like any country, in Europe or around the world, we've got a few teething problems which we really need to sort of correct within ourselves. But over time, that will get better.
Yeah, the way I see cricket in Sweden is very young, very youthful. There's so much passion and excitement there, and we've been in Gothenburg and Malmo and Stockholm as well. But across Sweden, there's just a huge uprising of incredible, cricketing talent, and it feels to me, that the tape ball and the big hitting instincts of the cricketers there are really well suited to T10. But it's a very exciting, player base around that whole country.
Yeah, absolutely, and the player development program that we're now starting to put into place can really enhance the opportunities for creators to come through. We've obviously, like you said, you've alluded on to the culture that's actually within Sweden and probably across Europe for that matter. We've got a lot of players who are raw cricketers. They don't have the structure, they don't have the professionalism, but they've got the real passion and the determination to deliver, certain skills and executions. What I'm trying to do is put a little bit of culture around it, a little bit of acceptance of professionalism, but also give them the opportunity to progress themselves in, from a domestic level into an international level, and put some layers within our development program, which are key performance indicators in order for us to be playing on this level.
Yeah, well, and the talent identification is so key as well, because you've got a breadth of these young cricketers all across the country, and you want to be able to nurture the ones that you see as outstanding potential talents. And then also we were super impressed with the women's team, played an event earlier this year, and you were obviously coached there. And how do you see women's cricket in Sweden developing?
Yeah, women's cricket is developing nicely. I mean, we've gone from sort of strength this year to last year. We've got 8 teams last year. We've gone to 12 this year. We're still looking to sort of move that up to 14, 15. That's our goal for the next 2 to 3 years. But at the same point, our international team now, the women's cricket, this year alone, we've played 4 international tournaments, which has never been done before. We've had, 80% more training sessions, which has never been done before. We've started to put appraisals in, as coaching structure in place. Our women's cricket are really starting to be challenged in terms of what the correct abilities required in order to play for Sweden at this level, but also more importantly to get them challenging to win away from Sweden as well, because they're quite comfortable in their own country. We want to win away from home, so obviously being in T20I World Cup this year against Jersey, there's a lot of learning from that. We've obviously got a couple of aging players, so we're starting to bring some youth in, and it's about, again, getting the right culture for the girls. I've had huge experience with girls cricket, not only in Sweden but also in England with the women's cricket at Lancashire, also a little bit of work with England Women's Academy, but also did work in UAE. So the depth of experience kind of puts me in a really good position. But at the same point, the women's cricket has an opportunity now to really flourish, and we've got some inspiring young cricketers coming through who really want to emphasize themselves being on a national platform. So we're starting to get there slowly.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Sweden, whenever we've been there, they're very long, beautiful summers, obviously with so much daylight and etc. But they're obviously long winters as well. Do you get the chance to train indoors and continue cricket in the off season in the winter?
It's a challenge, if I'm going to be honest, and that's where I'm really putting myself out there by saying it is a challenge because of the weather that's around, the lack of facilities that are around. There's a couple of facilities in the south, but it's not enough for our girls or our youth or our men to come together. We've obviously now got a couple of funding issues as well, so to try and put a full 12-month development program on for all our players, it is a real challenge. And if we're going to get better in the long run for the 5-year and 10-year sort of strategy plan, we have to be more consistent with this, especially from a funding perspective, resources perspective, but also hands-on delivery, on the off season as well. And that's where the real skill is developed for me. Spending that one-to-one time with players, spending that group session time with players, learning on skills that we haven't actually delivered well in or executed well in the season. So unfortunately that is a challenge for us because of the lack of facility and the heavy weather that's there.
Yeah, well, I think like anywhere in cricket in Europe, there's a lot of challenges, and where there's challenges, there's opportunities. And from what I see and the work we've done together with seeing Swedish cricket grow both domestically and internationally, there's only one way, and that's up, and that will continue to grow. The passion that you show and that your team show out here is fantastic, and we love to see it grow. And we think there'll be a lot of success moving forward for the women's game and for the men's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, the opportunities, they're always going to be there. What I obviously want to do is, within my remit, I want to try and allow them opportunities to sort of almost filter all the way down. We want to try and start an under-13s program for the boys and girls. We want to put an under-15s program in place as well. That's the next, objectives for me, to sort of put that talent program together, but also the talent identification that goes with that as well, in identifying certain criteria at that age group. It's not all about hitting sixes at that age group. It's about getting the right mentality, the right physicality, but also the skill set that's required. And then obviously the opportunity for me is to get women's cricket playing more consistently throughout, not just T10 but also in T20 as well. And I think we've got to be better as a particular batting unit. We have areas of bowlers that we need to get better on, so to try and put development programs in place for them so that skill set is enhanced. And we've got a couple of aging players as well, which, like I said, we need to sort of start allowing some young players to flourish through. And we did that in the Nordic tournament this year. Obviously, the girls winning that tournament. The youth won the Nordic this year. The men's have won the T20 series, T10 series in Budapest, and as you know, in Sweden. So it's been a successful year compared to most years. I mean, the men's have never won a back-to-back trophy in the history of Swedish cricket. So to do that in this year is fantastic. But again, it's about the process that we need to get right and continue working on that, and outcomes kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for your time.
No problem.
Thanks for all your efforts for cricket in Sweden.
Appreciate it.
And have a great rest of the tournament.
Thanks.
And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks
for your help.
Thank you.